We're on a mission to change that one cup, one plate at a time, wherever we can. This probably isn't the crowd that we have to preach to, but if you haven't noticed, we're drowning in trash. Even if we just look at cups, there's 15,000 disposable cups that are being thrown away every second. That's every single second we're throwing away that many cups. But the numbers for plates, utensils are all just the same. Meanwhile, recycling's not working the way it's supposed to. We're recycling less than 5% in the US. And really, when we talk about events, it's just a poor experience overall. So again, don't need to preach to you guys, but every scientist will say that reusing something is going to be better than creating something to be used for 10 minutes, no matter what kind of material it is. And it's not the public's fault, but they're being told that, compostable cups are better. But again, you have to grow the corn, you have to make this thing, you still have to ship it around the world. It doesn't become tomato plants. A lot of facilities can't process this. Aluminum cups, although they are recyclable, it takes a lot of resources to make it in the first place. It takes a lot of energy to melt and heat up this thing to make it into something else too. So again, the key is really to reuse the stuff that we have, and of course, reduce waste where we can as well. So what we've been trying to do from the beginning is really replicate the ease of use of disposables, the speed, the convenience, the stackability, so it can fit into the existing rules of the game that are present. So think big events, big festivals, big venues, they all need this speed and convenience, and we match that with a turnkey plug and play service. Or we might be joined by my daughter in a second, so she's creeping behind me. But not only, do we replicate that ease, we really put a sustainability initiative in everyone's hands. It's great for the brand, great for the event, but of course, it's just a cleaner dance floor. It's a better drinking experience for the attendees. Pardon the interruption. But we've been doing this for a couple years, anywhere from 200 people to 20,000 person events. As Maddie, you so lovely said, we've done over 1,000 event deliveries and venue deliveries since 2021. And we have a long, long way to go, but we've saved over 1 million cups and plates from heading into the landfill. And so as we work in South Florida, we hope to get more and more logos and names that you can recognize in your area. So I like to go through this pretty high level. We tend to work in a lot of different diverse environments. So really, like, how does it work getting from us to the event and back and washed so it doesn't end up in the landfill? What it's like for the attendees of these events, different financial structures, and then I've got a couple of case studies that Zsolt and I are both going to go over to explain, how we work in the real world. So it all starts with figuring out how many cups or plates we need to replace. This all happens, before the event starts or before we start working with a venue. We have to project how many, cups and plates that they're going to use over a given period of time. So if it's one day, we've got one day. If it's on a weekly basis, it's on a weekly basis. But we deliver just like they would order disposable cups. We deliver reusable cups to their venue, to the event site. I've got a whole nother slide on deposit systems, but most of our customers put some kind of financial incentive on the cups or on the plates to make sure that they get them back, cover their loss, engage people in sustainability. So people are paying their deposits, they're swapping out their reusables for other ones, they are returning them to collection points around. And then we work with the venue staff, with the event staff. We provide our own staff as well. All of the cups and plates and reusables get collected, compiled, and that's when we really go to work. We have commercial washing facilities where we wash, we sanitize, we quality control, so they can get packed up to be used again and again and again and again and again. So these are some of the cups. If you haven't seen them before, you get to see them on Saturday. Zsolt can give you a full product demo, but they're super hard, they're durable, they feel real in your hands, they're hard to break. So you can drop them. They are meant to withstand a nightclub at 2 a.m. So you can kick them. They won't break. They're made from polypropylene, which is number 5 plastic, if you know. It's BPA free, but they're stackable. They're lightweight. You can move them around. So again, they're replacing that ease of use of disposables in a way that doesn't hurt the planet. But we've also added plates, utensils, coffee cups to our product list. Really, any waste, any single-use waste that's out there, we want to create a solution for. On the collection front and site mapping, we also have a few different collection bin options. The one on the left works really well for indoor environments, higher end events. It's a nice, sleek black cover. The one on the right, that high visibility bin, that works best for festivals, outdoor things. You cannot miss this thing when it goes out there. And these are really cool. They collapse onto themselves so you can move them around a large site. But also, we have some venues that we work with that choose to implement their own aesthetic on there. So we're there to advise them, whatever works for them, we're happy to do. We know that branding is important for everyone. So I mentioned before, a lot of our customers use some kind of deposit system or financial incentive. One, really to engage people in sustainability. This makes them have the conversation that this is a reusable item. There's a value to this, but it also covers all the loss rate. You know, there are some that go missing at the end of any event, but ultimately it creates an added revenue stream. It covers the washing costs and then some. Money is still important in this day and age, and we have to make budgets work in order for this to actually happen. So on the left, we have a bunch of different models that we've run and proposed. The top one is how Europe has been doing this for a decade, right? It's a refundable deposit. You pay it on your first drink, you can swap out your cup, you don't pay it, and then you can actually return your cup or your plate and get your money back. Instead of giving cash back, some of our events are giving drink tickets or vouchers back. Some of them are just putting a levy on the cup, basically $2 to rent your cup, for example. But you can also return your cup at a prize station where if you bring 10 cups, you have 10 raffle tickets to win a VIP upgrade or concerts to the next show or a meet and greet with the artist. It's a way to gamify this system to get people engaged in the program. And the last one that I'll point to here is really baking it into the drink price and providing an incentive to bring your cup back for your next drink. So your first drink costs X amount, your next one costs $2 less. So this is good for the bar. It avoids the cash as well. We've always played the consultative role of giving our customers the options and then working with them to craft whatever system works best for them. Everyone's got their own employees, their own system that works best. So we are there to make the system that works best for them. And this year, we are also integrating technology into these deposit mechanisms. If you look at that picture, there's a large outdoor food, actually smorgasbord, you have that in Miami, where we can actually run these systems on a decentralized, distributed kind of area where people are free to go where they please. It's not enclosed. How do we keep track of those containers and make sure that they get returned? So we have a couple different models that we're testing out, both integrating with the POS system, the place where you pay to automatically refund those deposits, but also some tap and go solutions that are agnostic of the POS system. And all of this really allows us to have a greater visibility onto what's actually happening, get really seamless, easy to provide sustainability metrics, and again, just making that user experience better. So we look forward to telling you the findings of these, but we're testing out a few ones. As Zsolt and I talk about this, there's a lot of different use cases, right? A festival is different than a concert venue. A concert venue is different than a food fest. A food fest is different than a high-end fundraiser event for a nonprofit. And we are really trying to find the solutions that work for all of those. And there doesn't seem to be one set mechanism that's going to work across the board. So we're trying to provide the solutions so we can really make an impact on waste as a whole. And of course, we do this with some clients, but we can actually brand, co-brand, put our clients or sponsors logo on the cups so that they can brand them and we can still run the same washing logistics for them. We always look for recurring projects. We don't want to be a swag company that's making this for a one-time event, but if there's a venue that wants their logo on that, we're happy to provide that service for them with their branded logo. Sponsors are important. We can do that as well. So I've got a couple of case studies because we do work in a lot of different environments. Like I said, a festival is different than a food fest. So I'm going to go through a couple of those and how we work just to get your wheels turning on what it's like to work with us in different environments. So the first one is, it's in New York, but it's a large concert venue. That's the point. It's 3,000 people. We are running every 2 weeks a swap out for we're picking up their dirty cups while we drop off their clean cups at the same time. Uh, this is a great operational case scenario because after the first 2 weeks, the staff is all on board. There's a learning curve we see. The loss rates get lower as time goes on, and everyone becomes on board. And right now, something like this is really on autopilot for both us and the venue. They order just like they would order disposables, and we pick them up and swap them out at the same time. On the other hand, Zsolt, do you want to talk about Soundtuary?
Yeah, sure. So Soundtuary is an event promoter. They do monthly events, and they do them at different locations. They did for some time they did it at the Oasis in Wynwood, and lately they've been doing it on Jungle Island. They are they care a lot about the environment and sustainability. So it's once we connected with them, it wasn't even a question for them whether to use reusable cups or not. And they love the program. We've been working with them for a year and a half. Our average recovery rate is between 90 to 95%. They typically have about 2,000, 3,000, sometimes even 4,000 people. And then throughout all the events we work with them, we saved close to 40,000 cups from going to landfill.
And then another one in Miami. Zol, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so this was a month-long activation at the Wynwood studio, where actually a mixed team, a mixed New York and Miami team took over this space, and that there were several different events and event promoter that did events, but they used throughout this month-long activation, they used our reusable cups. The capacity of the venue is about 1,500 people. They used over 6,000 cups throughout the month, and with a collaboration between our team and their team, we were able to recover over 90% of the cups used. And just an add-on to it, that when we talk about like this recovery rate, so that means the loss rate, it's some of the cups are lost and just inadvertently go into trash, but then a pretty large percentage of the cups that are not recovered, there's people take the cups with them home. So that's another area where we lose the cups, and it's very important to have a cup that it's doesn't look like a disposable cup, but also we don't want to make these cups too nice, because then a lot more people tend to take them home.
And Zolt and I have both had the experience of our friends. I don't know about you, Zolt, but I have friends who'll be like, "Oh yeah, I have one of your cups in my cabinet." And I'm like, "What? That's not the point of this." But as Zolt said, right, you want to find that balance of being reusable, durable, but not so nice that people want to take it home. So on a smaller scale, we did a festival in Vermont that was aspiring zero waste, and this was the first time that we did not just cups, but we also did the food program as well. So it's 600 people. I was there. They created one bag of trash for an all-day festival, and it was basically the paper towels from the porta potties. Everything else was thought about. This was, months ahead of time lead up for it. We did reusable cups, reusable plates, multi utensils. We set up collection points for the different types of reusables as well. And all of the recycling, composting, and trash cans really were empty at the end of the day, which is a huge success. If you're ever thinking about running something like this, I can connect you with the organizer of this, but all of the beverages were in kegged. The wine and the cocktails were also kegged. So there was no waste there. The food trucks were all brought on early to commit to the program, so we could provide reusables to them as well. And on the other side, this is a lot of lead time, right? This was 3 months in the making. Sometimes we have much shorter lead time. And Zsolt is our hero over here. You want to talk about framework, Zsolt?
Yeah, this was a very exciting opportunity, because it was a historic event in Los Angeles, where it was the first time that what is that the one of their biggest boulevards, I just can't remember the name
Hollywood
of it.
Boulevard.
Yeah, Hollywood Boulevard was 2 blocks on Hollywood Boulevard were closed for this event. And with that had only a 10-day lead time. They had 12,000 people attendees. So we shipped the cups out, we worked through the event, and then we were able to recover about 90%. And we also we created a really good relationship with them. So we had another event with them in December, and then we are already planning on the next event in May. That's again 12,000 people, and they have a lot more events coming up, and they really liked this program, that there's no cup wasted, and they want to keep working with us.
And so if you can imagine a attendee of this event at 2 o'clock in the morning, they shockingly resemble an 8-year-old at an elementary school as well. And so not only are we really in the nightlife, again, we're trying to solve waste. So this is a very different scenario. This was a pilot at a school in New York, where they actually got a grant to purchase reusables for themselves, and we just provided the servicing for them. So it was all stainless steel cups and utensils, clearly labeled signage. There's a lot of education to get the kids on board. But for us, or at least for me, this is a really big impact, because I see those kids learning from a young age that it's not just disposable, that's the only option for them.
And before we go forward, another case study that we probably should have included that is very relevant to Miami, that we work with a river boat cruise in New York City, and they use only reusable cups. They have very nice ships, and then they have these multiple river cruises every day, and then know that Miami is big in this whole boat culture, and there's no better environment to use reusable cups than a boat, because it's the easiest to recover the cups is in an enclosed environment, and there's no way to run off a boat. So like there's no way people can walk off the boat with their cup in their hand.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point, Zsolt. And the last one I have, we started implementing a program on Broadway. And the parallel I want to draw here is that a lot of Broadway theaters had existing souvenir cup bottles in place. They were already selling souvenir cups, but they had no way to collect them and no way to wash them. So these are, again, owned by the client, just like the school was, or just like a custom cup is. And we still want to solve the problem to make sure nothing is going to landfill. So for this, we're just fitting into an existing program. Again, we're here to provide whatever services needed in order to reduce the waste.
And just to add on to this Broadway program, so the problem here is that these theaters, they're selling the souvenir cups to people. So basically, you want to buy a drink, they force you to buy this souvenir cup. And a lot of people, they don't want to keep these souvenir cups. So they, before leaving the theater, they would just throw it in trash. And then now we implemented this program, so they have these cup collection bins where instead of trash, they are actually putting them in these collection bins. Then the theater collects them, we pick them up, we wash them, we clean them, we quality control them, and then we take them back to the theater so they can reuse and resell these cups instead of just going these cups going into landfill.
So for any type of environment that we work with, we always start with some calls before the event starts, some calls before we onboard the venue. But ultimately, again, we have to plot out the program. So we're really there. We've got good metrics and data on our end to help them do that. But we provide pretty custom and tailored solutions for every single project that we work on to make sure that it fits and solves the problems of that specific space. So that all happens, after the call, between first call and then the actual launch day of the event. In addition, we're also helping them with messaging for both the on-site signage, but also social media campaigns before the event to get people aware so that they know that the program is happening when they arrive. Once the event starts or once the venue launches, really we're there to support with as much on-site support as needed. We help run our own cleaning crews, our own waste sorting crews if needed. Again, we train their staff to make sure everyone's on board. And this is not just the bar, but this is also the custodial staff, the waste sorting staff. A lot of times this is multiple different teams coming together, and we're there to really just draw the connections between them. Frequently as well with a venue, we always revisit that after a couple months to see how the program's actually doing. Has their loss rate changed? Is there something that we can see that we can make improvements on? Our end goal is really to reduce waste as much as we can to continue to decrease that loss rate as much as possible. So for us, what we're looking for anywhere, we're really growing into the stadium and arena space. So that's the Dolphins, the Heat, the Marlins, but also minor league teams, colleges. Those are all really great stepping stones to get there. As I see it, these are kind of like the biggest case scenarios too, and we need the data points to get to that point as well. But any music and nightlife venues, festivals and events, really over 1,000 is kind of our target. If anyone here is a part of something smaller, please reach out to us. We do operate those. We are happy to. We're just built for scale as well. But in addition to these, as Zsolt said, right, boats, food fests, schools, corporate cafeterias, colleges, universities, anywhere where you can think of that there's a lot of waste being generated, that's where we want to come in and create a solution. And on that note, can anyone think? Go ahead, Zsolt.
And also caterers and convention centers are very very good clients for us, and we are a very good fit. And especially when it comes to like certain type of events, because there are certain events, large events, where they would like to use something that is actually presentable, that is much nicer than a disposable cup, but glassware is not really an option because of the size of the event and the very high cost of glassware, and we just fit like really nicely in that niche.
Mm-hmm. So as Maddie said too, if you can think of any opportunities where there's a lot of trash, you can put them in the chat and let us know about them. How you can help us, if you know any of these events or organizers or venue operators, we'd be really happy to talk to them. Again, we're trying to solve the problem for them. So whatever solution that we can do to help them out, we're happy to do so. I found success in actually going to an event, taking pictures of trash on the floor, and then tagging them on Instagram. You can tag us, Cup Zero Hero, and also the venue. But again, it's really effective, especially from some of local organizations, to say, hey, I've noticed, there's a lot of trash at your event. Have you thought about something like this, just to open the conversation? And sometimes all they need is that conversation, and they can maybe switch on their own. But if they do feel like they need added support from added washing and kind of our expertise, again, we are happy to do that as much as possible. So thank you. And let's get to Cup Zero.